Hello BookTube, this is Weekly Reads. My reading week has been a roller coaster. It started on a high note on Saturday, went to a low note on Sunday, was a try chapter tag over much of the work week, and ended on a high note yesterday and today. So I'm going to ignore the try chapter tag because I did that video yesterday. So today I'm going to start with Sunday and then get to the weekend and the last 2 days, which were manga. So my big goal for the last week of March was to read At Swim 2 Boys by Jamie O'Neill. I started this, so this is a gay historical novel set in 1915 and 1916 Ireland, and it's about two young men who, over the course of that year, gradually fall in love, even as the Easter Rising is in the offing. So I started this on Sunday instead of on Saturday because I had relatives coming on Saturday, and the visit was great. So started this on Sunday and was planning to read it throughout the rest of the reading week because it is a rather long novel at about 562 pages. I build on it quickly. The first chapter did nothing for me. The second chapter just reinforced that. So I did decide to bail on it in about 50 pages. And that is frustrating because I've had this book for a very long time. I bought it in San Francisco in 2006, and I'm pretty sure I bought it at a little used bookstore room that was on the San Francisco State University campus. Don't know if it's still there. Would be awesome if it was. I'm pretty sure I bought it there, although I could have bought it at one of the many used bookstores that were in San Francisco at the time. I'm seriously doubting any of them are still there. But getting back to At Swim 2 Boys, so I've had this book in my collection for over 15 years. And I never got around to reading it until this past Sunday, and I think that was a mistake. I'm pretty sure if I had read it shortly after I bought it, within a year or two, when I was still more enthusiastic about classics, canonical, modern, and contemporary fiction in this case, I would have enjoyed it a lot. Well, I would have finished it at least. I don't know necessarily about enjoying it, but I hope I would have enjoyed it. I know there are a number of books that I have read over the past, like when I was in my early mid-20s and even late teens, that I have come back to as I'm older and I don't get on with them a lot. And that is, I don't know. It's kind of weird and annoying, but it is what it is. So I didn't get on with this at all and did end up bailing. And the reason why I'm bringing up my reaction to classics, canonical, modern, and contemporary fiction, poetry, drama, the part of my collection that I occasionally have weird bouts of wanting to expand, even though it never works out, is because after I bailed on and I did a few other things. I read or reread Voluntary Servitude by Wunderlich. This has been one of my favorite poetry collections for years, and this rereading, much with a lot of the poetry rereadings that I've done this past year so far, I haven't gotten on with them as well as I have in the past, even last year. So I'm thinking there might be that I'm turning away from, to say it again, classics, canonical, modern, and contemporary fiction, poetry, and drama. And I don't know. It's maybe I just need to certainly I do think I need to take a break from rereading poetry, because you can only reread them so often. But anyway, so I so I wasn't as thrilled with this rereading. So yeah, so that's got me seriously contemplating taking a harder look at my classics, canonical, modern, and contemporary fiction, poetry, and drama bookcase, which is in the hall, as well as my science fiction and fantasy, which I've been giving a hard look at over the past few months. So don't be surprised when I do get around to my unhauling that those books will be joining science fiction, fantasy, and hopefully finding new and more loving homes. So anyway, so I did read some things that I loved this past reading week. So since I did have family coming on Saturday, I read 2 volumes of manga, and then yesterday and today I read 4 more volumes of manga, 2 over the 2 days. So I read My Hero Academia volumes 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 by Kohei Horikoshi. So My Hero Academia is a manga series inspired by American superhero comic books. It's about a world in which 80% of the population are superpowered. And amongst those people, a number of them are superheroes. Izuku Midoriya does not have superpowers. He is quirkless. But he admires superheroes intensely, especially the superhero All Might, who is the top superhero in Japan. One day, Izuku has a number of encounters with All Might. And during one of those, Izuku attempts to rescue a classmate of his who is being attacked by a villain. This act of bravery inspires All Might, and consequently, All Might begins to train Izuku in order to be able to handle All Might's quirk, One for All, which can be passed down. So at the end of the training, All Might gives Izuku his quirk, and Izuku then joins UA, the top school for superheroes. As the school year begins, a group of villains called the League of Villains begin launching a series of attacks aimed at trying to kill All Might. And these attacks end up coinciding with the presence of the students in Class 1A, of which Midoriya is a part of. So even though these are students, over the course of the series, they have a number of encounters with villains. Villains attack several training exercises as well as other events. And this eventually leads to a climactic battle between All Might and the villain, All for One. And of course, the fall of superhero society, the society that has been built up. So, whereas most comic books, particularly with superheroes, tend to be contemporary, that they're set in the present day. My Hero Academia is set in the future at some unspecified point in time. And so these volumes basically run through a number of story arcs, starting with the aftermath of the school sports festival, in which one of the characters, Tenya, learns that his older brother, the superhero Ingenium, has been attacked and crippled by a supervillain called Stain, who is a hero killer. He has an extremist belief in superheroes and that the current superhero society is a corrupt one that is more about earning a paycheck and celebrity than what a superhero actually is supposed to be. And so in his mind, the only real worthy superhero is All Might. So while the pursuit of Stain is ongoing by the professional heroes, the students are sent on short internships. Izuku who takes on the superhero name Deku, is sent to intern with an older hero named Gran Torino, who also taught All Might. And during this internship, there's an attack on Hosu City, where the hero killer is also lurking. There'd been an attempt to recruit him to the League of Villains, which did not go well. So Tenya is hunting for this villain himself for revenge. So Stain attacks another hero. Tenya comes upon the scene and tries to fight him, and then Izuku comes across to rescue Tenya as well as another character, Todoroki. And so they have a fight with Stain and manage to defeat him while this larger attack is going on. After this arc, there's a school training arc in which Izuku and Bakugo, or Katsuki, who has a wonderful superhero, who has this absolutely hilarious superhero name that's not revealed for a very long time, have to go up against All Might. And they manage to succeed. And then this leads to another training arc where they go out into the mountains to learn how to rescue and to better train their quirks, because it's becoming readily apparent that the villains are planning something, that there's a tension in society, and the young heroes need to be ready for it. However, the villains attack this training camp and abduct Bakugo. And so the heroes then there are a number of great fight scenes, particularly Izuku and gets muscular. And then there's the rescue of Bakugo, which leads to a massive fight that wraps up these 6 volumes, and it is amazing. And I want to show you some images from here. So let's pick some out. Sometimes I really should plan this out a bit more. Oh, this is great. Now there's that. This is amazing. I love the artwork. Like, absolutely love the artwork. And I loved these volumes. As I've been reading My Hero Academia over the past few days, I have just absolutely been loving these volumes, and as I've been reading them, it's like I'm transported somewhere else, and it is just absolutely a wonderful experience. I have been having an absolute blast with these volumes and reading My Hero Academia. Now, here's the results of a fan poll. Let me see here. Yeah, there's one. Oh yeah, this one here, which is, let's see if we get a better one. Oh yeah, that's one of the main villains of the series, Shiragaki. And oh yeah, so there's that, and it's a blast. I've been loving these, so I am definitely looking forward to buying more My Hero Academia in April. Even though I probably have already reached my book buying budget, but I want some more. So good. Anyway, so what I will be reading this coming reading week is I'm going to be starting April with a reread of SPQR by Mary Beard. This is a history of Rome that is told in a very idiosyncratic way. The bulk of the history, the sort of the starting point, is in the 1st century BC. And then it kind of goes backwards to the foundations of Rome and then goes forwards. But much of the actual focus is on the first centuries BC and AD. And I'm rereading this for the Steve Tiberius Donahue Book Club. This is the April pick. So I'm looking forward to it. And then after I read SPQR, I will be reading Eleanor of Aquitaine by Alison and Weir. This is a biography of Eleanor of Aquitaine, and I'm reading it for both People April and Historathon, which are 2 new booktube events. Historathon is a year-long reading event in which participants read history, and basically it's broken down into quarters by long stretches of time. And People April is reading biographies, autobiographies, and memoirs. So I'm looking forward to both of them. And if I have any extra time, I will read something else and then report back next Friday. So that's what I've been reading. So my plans for next week. I'm probably going to redo my first book on haul. I filmed it not this past weekend, but the last one. But I would like to redo it because I was a bit of a brat in that one. But I also want to kind of film like the other three, and probably give a bit more information of once I know exactly when and where I'm going to be sending them off. Although I'm leaning towards donating them to local friends at the library. But anyway, so there's that. I also have a few discussion videos I would like to do. There was what I want to do is talk about me and fantasy and my changing tastes and my move away from fantasy and my thoughts on maybe why I am. I would also like to talk about time and superheroes because I am working on a superhero project for Camp NaNoWriMo, and one of the things that I'm kind of coming up is exactly how I want to do the time. And then there might be other discussion videos. I know there's a resurgence in discussion over sort of editing or rewriting older works of fiction over the past few weeks. That is getting a lot of commentary on BookTube that I might want to talk about, although maybe not. Depends, because I'm not that great at discussion videos. And of course, tags and anything else that any other videos I might want to make. So anyway, BookTube, that's it for this week. Thank you. Have a great rest of your evening and weekend until I see you on Monday. Stay safe.